Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Usually I don't like to speak before food. I always hate to be that thing between you and your food. Especially somebody my size will block your food completely. But I'll try to make it short, and we all can enjoy the rest of the night, inshallah ta'ala. Thank you, Ammar, for such a beautiful talk. When Ammar was saying about the story of the man who was act like a door, he said, who will do that? And I said to myself, my friend Khalid did it. I also once was camping with my friends, and it was one of the coldest nights I remember in the desert of Arabia. And the tent that we brought has a hole. And from that hole, the wind was coming so strong, was freezing. And I don't know if you ever experienced the desert cold and the cold wind in the night. And I still remember I woke up in the night and I found my friend. He left his place and he put his sleeping bag just right at that hole, sitting to block the air from coming inside the tent. That's something I saw with my own eyes. It's not impossible. I lived with people who we had a friend in college who was less fortunate than us, most of us, was not having money. And we hated, and he's so dignified that he would never accept sadaqah from anyone. What we used to do? We used to, all the friends used to put in his wallet when he doesn't know, a $20, a $10 in his book, in his pocket, and as if it is his money and he forgot about it. And I think in the end of the year, he figured it out because he never ran out of money. Just a little bit of cash here and there, okay? And I know people were competing to do that. There is a lot of great stories that I can think of in my life of people that I met that they demonstrate this level of love and sacrifice, alhamdulillah. Even here in America, I have seen people share their wealth with their partners, and they start their business together. I have seen a lot of great examples. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala encourage us to be among those who always aim high when it comes to the salihat. And I just also want to reflect upon something he said about the giving. It was very, very strong example or statement that he made that to give Ali ibn Abi Talib, when he said to give 20 dinar to my friends or dirham better than giving 100 to the poor person. And this is something very interesting. I just had a dinner with the brothers, Muhammad and Ammar Zamallah Khair paid for it, okay? So I would say, for a second, I'll tell you what happened to my heart. For a second, I said to myself, it was like it's a seafood. Seafood is expensive food in general. So I said to myself, oh my God, they're gonna pay quite a bit of money now, And I said to myself, wallahi, that's what I was thinking of. I said, I hope the shaitan will not let them think, we should have donated this money for the sake of Allah better, and we ate maybe halal hot dog and cart in the street, something like that. Would it be better, and the money we spend it better way? And in my mind, I want to tell them, but because they invited me, I want to tell them that wallahi al-azim, when I do this with my friends, I consider the money that I spend on my friends, okay, it is higher reward. I expect it to have higher reward than the money that I spend on sadaqah, and so many times. So when I heard what Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu said, I was very happy. But that doesn't mean you do this all the time. But if you do it one time, don't feel bad and beat yourself up. You know what? That's another great act of worship. It's like when you hear that the Salaf said the dhikr is better than the sadaqah. But you still give sadaqah. But you know that the dhikr is something you should not underestimate. Not to replace the sadaqah with dhikrullah. Is that clear? Yeah. Okay. طيب. Now I will start with my topic, which is about the virtues of the good deeds. So many times we hear about the dangers of the sins and the impact of the sins in our life in this dunya and the akhirah. عقوبات الذنوب والمعاصي وآثارها السيئة في الدنيا والآخرة. Something commonly repeated, which is, I think it's good. But also it's worth for us to know a little bit about the rewards, the impact of the good deeds in your life in this dunya, even before the akhirah. The akhirah, inshallah, we'll talk about it in February when I come here and speak about the Jannah, the paradise, and the hellfire in my newest course with Al-Maghrib. But what I would like to talk about here today, I would like to talk about what is the immediate results, impact that you can see as a result of your commitment to the good deeds. And no doubt that these rewards and impact that you feel, it touch your soul, touch your heart, affect your life in all aspects. I'm going to start with the most important part of your body, which is your heart. Good deeds, the first impact that they have on you, that they fill your heart with serenity, fill your heart with tranquility, fill your heart with rest. What we call it, انشراح الصدر, طمأنينة النفس, هدوء الروح. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us about human beings that by nature human beings are always worried, are scared, filled with fear and anxiety. That's how al-insan is. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ خُلِقَ هَلُوعًا. Halu', yani filled with fear. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي كَبَدٍ. Yani human beings in kabad, and kabad it means struggle, and that's a struggle that physically and psychologically, that's how the life is. يا أيها الإنسان إنك كادح إلى ربك كدحا. O mankind, O human beings, and al-ajib, some of the mufassirin said, يا أيها الإنسان, يعني يا أيها النبي, O Muhammad, you are كادح إلى ربك كدحا. You will struggle and struggle and struggle in this life until you meet Allah. Al-ulama said, what's the benefit of addressing Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Why we don't keep it in general? Because the verse general, all mankind. They said, yes, it's all mankind, but the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was meant here to tell everyone, every single human being, if Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam going to struggle, then everyone else will struggle as well. If there is anyone can be saved from this struggle, would have been Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But if Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam had to struggle to go through this in the dunya, so everyone else will go through that. So this is how the nature of our life. And nothing can take that fear away. Nothing can bring rest to your heart, tranquility, serenity, calm you down like the good deeds, like the iman, like the faith, like al-amal al-salih. That's what really will transfer you to be a person who carry a heart which is mutma'in, a heart that is filled with tranquility and trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Can you imagine, and I would like to make my points usually with stories to make it more interesting. Can you imagine someone, how much anxiety, fear, can be in the person's heart when he or she live a rough life, tough life, not much of worldly materials, doesn't have much money in life, doesn't have positions, he has enemy everywhere plotting against him, and not only that, they also locked him up in a small tiny room, just maybe a few feet big, no space, but still that small tiny hole or room that they lock him up in was like a Jannah for him. It was like a paradise for him. That was Shaykh al-Islam rahimahullah ta'ala, Ibn Taymiyyah. يقول الإمام ابن القيم رحمه الله, his students, he said about him. He said, وَعَلِمَ اللَّهُ مَا رَأَيْتُ أَحَدًا أَطْيَبَ عَيْشًا مِنْهُ. Allah knows that I have not seen anyone who lived better life than Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah ta'ala. Why? He said, مَعَ مَا كَانَ فِيهِ مِنْ ضِيقِ الْعَيْشِ وخلاف الرفاهية والنعيم بل هو على ضدها تماما. Even though he never had a luxurious life, he never had money, he never had, all these luxury things in life. He had a very rough, tough life, rahimahullah ta'ala. وَمَعَ مَا كَانَ فِيهِ مِنَ الْحَبْسِ وَالتَّهْدِيدِ. And he was locked up so many times in jail. He was beaten, he was threatened, وَالْإِرْهَاقِ. He was struggling all his life. وَمَعَ ذَلِكَ كَانَ أَطْيَبُ النَّاسِ عَيْشًا وَأَشْرَحُهُمْ صَدْرًا. And with all this, he had the best life. His heart is so wide. His chest is so wide. وَأَقْوَاهُمْ قَلْبًا. His heart was so firm, so strong, has no doubt. وَأَسَرُّهُمْ نَفْسًا. He said he's always happy. تَلُوحُ نَضْرَةُ النَّعِيمِ مِنْ وَجْهِهِ. When you look at him, you see a very happy person. فَمَا هُوَ إِلَّا أَن نَرَاهُ. Can you imagine? He's locked up in this cell, and Ibn al-Qayyim and the students outside, free. He said we used to come to visit him in his cell. He said whenever we see him and we listen to him and he talks to us, we feel completely rest, so optimistic, and we go back and face all these challenges in life. Allahu Akbar. He used to say that this wall that they put here, because a small window he can see from outside, he see this wall remind me of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in his book. فَضُرِبَ بَيْنَهُمْ بِسُورٍ لَهُ بَابٍ بَاطِنُهُ فِيهِ الرَّحْمَةِ وَظَاهِرُهُ مِنْ قِبَلِهِ الْعَذَابِ. He said, this is like what Allah said in the Quran, there is a wall. From one side it's filled with mercy, and from the other side it is adhab, punishment and suffering. It is here, this is my Jannah. That's why he used to say, إِنَّمَا الْأَسِيرُ مَنْ أَسَرَهُ هَوَاهُ. The true prisoner is the one who is imprisoned to his own desires. وَالْمَحْبُوسِ مَنْ حُبِسَ عَنِ اللَّهِ. And the one who's locked up is the one who was prevented from being connected with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The one who lost faith. إِنَّ جَنَّتِي وَبُسْتَانِي فِي صَدْرِي فَهِيَ مَعِي أَيْنَمَا ذَهَبْتُ. My Jannah, my reward, my enjoyment, my joy is in my heart. It's with me wherever I go. That's the life of the believers. That's the yaqeen of the good doers. That this type of heart that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed them with. And that's one of the first reward you get. I read once a story of a French engineer, a petroleum engineer who became Muslim. He said the reason for me to be Muslim, I was in the desert with the Algerian workers. And we had a sandstorm, first time in my life to see a sandstorm. Huge sandstorm coming up. He said, I was so scared, so terrified, shaking, okay? And he said, and these guys, they kept saying, khair inshallah, ya Rabbi istur, ya Rabbi istur. He said, they said, I didn't know what that. I said, what are you guys saying? It is serious. We're going to die. He said, no, khair, don't worry, Allah with us, Allah will protect us. He said, that's what made me Muslim. That yaqeen, that tranquility in their heart. They're not scared, they're not terrified by what people terrified from. Never terrified because I lost a job or because I lost a child or because this or that. Because I know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with me. That's why the heart that finds Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would never lose anything, would never miss anything. And the heart that never finds Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will never be satisfied with anything else other than Allah. Number 2, which is related to what Ammar said. You want people to love you, do good deeds. Righteous people are loved by the people. That's it? No. Loved by the angels. That's it? No. Loved by Allah. Ya salam. Yes. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah Maryam, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. Those who believe and do good deeds. سَيَجْعَلُ لَهُمُ الرَّحْمَنُ وُدًّا. Ar-Rahman will give them wood, يعني love. Many of the Mufassirin interpret the wood, the love that they gain from the people and the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that will be giving to them. And the famous hadith Jibreel, إِذَا أَحَبَّ اللَّهُ عَبْدًا. When Allah loves someone, and how can Allah love someone? مَا زَالَ عَبْدِي يَتَقَرَّبُ إِلَيَّ بِالْفَرَائِضِ حَتَّى أحبه. My servant keep doing the good deeds, the obligatories, until I would love him. So you will be loved when you do the good deeds. when you do the right things, when you do the righteous deeds, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves you, what He does? He will call upon Jibreel. And He said, Ya Jibreel, I love so and so, so love him. And Jibreel will call upon the angels. And the angel would say, he will tell the angels, because he's the master of all the angels. He's the high, basically the highest rank among all the angels. So he would say to them, Muta'in thumma ameen. He's obeyed by the other angels, Jibreel. He said, Allah loves so and so, so you all love him. And he will be loved by the people of the heavens. وَيُوضَعُ لَهُ الْقَبُولُ فِي الْأَرْضِ. And Allah give him acceptance in the earth. You know, just to give things like in perspective, have you ever experienced when you post something in your Facebook and you had like 200 likes? How you feel? Wow, I got 200 likes, you know, 20 shares. Wow, I got 1,000. Oh my God, Sheikh, this Sheikh and Sheikh had 12,000 likes. Can you imagine? You've been liked not by people, random people on Facebook. No, you've been liked by millions of the angels. That they love you. You're checked by them. Your name shared by them. Maybe your story shared by them too. That's something of value. The good deeds, it is something happened in this dunya before the akhirah. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said about the kuffar when He destroyed them, فَمَا بَكَتْ عَلَيْهِمُ السَّمَاءُ وَالْأَرْضُ. That the heavens or earth did not cry over them. Ibn Abbas, would the heavens and earth cry over the death of anyone? He said yes. The angels, when a righteous person die, they cry. They said his good deeds used to go through us every day and every night, and we're missing that. That's something instantly you get. That people love you. And when people love you and witness for you goodness, oh my goodness, that's the best thing you can get. Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anh, a janaza, a funeral passed by him. Then Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu ardah, after he heard people saying great things about this person, how they love him and how he's a good Muslim and a good believer and so, he said, وجبت. قال أبو الأسود ما وجبت يا عمر. قال وجبت له الجنة. قال كيف تقول هذا. Umar said, وجبت. He deserved it. What he deserved? He said, الجنة. Then they asked, how? He said, لقد سمعت النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول, I heard the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم said, ما من مسلم يشهد له ثلاثة بالجنة أو أكثر إلا وجبت له. I have heard the Prophet ﷺ said, there is no Muslim, 3 Muslims will witness for him that he deserved Jannah unless he deserved it. Reported by Tirmidhi. And Umar once sent a letter of very powerful words to Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas. He said to him, إِذَا أَحَبَّ اللَّهُ عَبْدًا حَبَّبَ اللَّهُ إِلَيْهِ خَلْقَهُ. When Allah loves someone, He makes people love that person. فَاعْتَبِرْ مَنْزِلَتَكَ مِنَ اللَّهِ. So look, where's your status from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? وَاعْلَمْ أَنَّ مَا لَكَ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ مَا لَكَ عِنْدَ النَّاسِ. And see if how people see you. If they see you evil and bad, that's how Allah sees you too. If people see you pure and nice and good and righteous, that's how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees you as well. That's why Aisha wrote to Muawiyah. She said, Ya Muawiyah, ittaqillah wa la ta'sillah. Ya Muawiyah, fear Allah and don't disobey Allah. فَإِنَّهُ مَا أَذْنَبَ الْعَبْدُ ذَنْبًا إِلَّا عَادَ مَادِحُهُ مِنَ النَّاسِ ذَنْبًا لَهُ. When you commit a sin, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala turn against you those who used to love you before. وقال عون هو واحد من كبار التابعين. One of the earlier scholars among the tabi'een. He said, إِنَّ الرَّجُلَ لَيُذْنِبُ الذَّنْبِ فَيَنْزِعُ اللَّهُ بِذَنْبِهِ حُبَّ إِخْوَانِهِ مِنْ قَلْبِهِ مِنْ قُلُوبِهِمْ حُبَّهُ مِنْ قُلُوبِ إِخْوَانِهِ. That you commit the sin and Allah take away the love that your brothers had for you from their hearts. And vice versa. The more good, the more you're loved by the people. That's why, brothers and sisters, one of the things that you can think of, you want your children to love you? Be more righteous. You want your spouse to love you? Be more righteous. You want your family to love, your parents to love you? Be more righteous. You want your neighbor, your community to love you? Be more righteous to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's one of the ways to gain the people's love. Number 3, anytime you do good deeds, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make reward you instantly with something it's called the sweetness of the ta'ah. That's a joy that you feel whenever you do something good. يقول شيخ الإسلام رحمه الله تعالى: إذا لم تجد للعمل في قلبك حلاوة وفي صدرك انشراحة. If you do a good deeds and you don't feel the impact of it in your heart or your chest, that you feel the sweetness of it, فاتهمه. That means your deeds, there is something wrong in it. قال فإن الله, it is known that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, shakur, grateful and thankful, that He will reward you for your deeds in the dunya before the akhirah. He said it's either you have a problem with your ikhlas or a problem with following the sunnah. Otherwise, if you do a good deed sincerely for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you should immediately feel the impact of it. You pray 2 rak'ahs, you pray in the night, you give sadaqah, you give charity, you went and you distribute food with Muslim giving back, or you donated to them today. If you really thinking about sincerely and you're doing it for the sake of Allah and thinking about the ajr that is waiting for you and you want to be part of that, you will be always feel so proud of yourself and you will feel that sweetness in your heart. Number 4, one of the things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala giving you, I call it al-ghina al-wafir. Allah makes you rich. But I don't mean rich by making you wealthy necessarily. No. النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم said on this hadith, it is also a sound hadith في مسلم أحمد وغيره: إن الله يقول, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, يا ابن آدم تفرغ لعبادتي أملأ صدرك غنى وأسد فقرك. He said صلى الله عليه وسلم that the Prophet that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, son of Adam, devote yourself to my worship, I will fill your heart with righteousness. I'll make you rich. And I will take care of your affair. I will take away poverty from you. What being rich means? It means what the Prophet ﷺ told us. ليس الغنى عن كثرة العرض. Being rich, it doesn't mean you have so much and you have too much, you have very much. No. إنما الغنى غنى النفس يقول النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. The rich, it means you feel that you are content. You feel that you're not in need. If it comes, alhamdulillah. If it doesn't, I'm happy. That's why Allah said about all human beings, no matter how much money we have, He said, يَا أَيُّهَا النَّاسُ أَنْتُمُ الْفُقَرَاءُ إِلَى اللَّهِ وَاللَّهُ هُوَ الْغَنِيُّ الْحَمِيدُ. O mankind, all of you are poor. All of you are needy. Why? Because we are in need. We need Allah, while Allah need no one. That's why He is Al-Ghani. So the rich, it means someone who is not in need. وَلِذَلِكَ قَالَ عُمَرْ رضي الله عنه قَالَ إِنَّ الطَّمَعَ فَقْرٌ. Greed is poverty. Because greedy people always need to increase their wealth. He said that's poverty. وَإِنَّ الْيَأْسَ غِنَى. When you feel content that you don't need anything, that's what makes you rich. And once Al-Fudayl ibn Iyad wanted to teach a man a lesson. This man, he said to Al-Fudayl ibn Iyad, he said to him, I want to give you this money. He said, I only take money from rich people. He said, there is no one has more money than me. I'm the richest person in this town. He said, do you? He said, yes. He said, how much money you have? He said, I have 8,000 pieces of gold dinar. I have it right now. He said, would you like to make them 10? He said, of course. He said, so you are poor. You are needy. You're in need to make them. You're not content with what you have. You're still in need to make them 10. So you are not the rich person that I'm talking about. So one of the things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you, you make you content with your nasib from the dunya. You're just not running after it day and night. No, it comes, alhamdulillah. If it doesn't matter. We'll never make the dunya in your heart. We'll make it in your hand. It's a big difference when wealth and money is your master and when wealth and money is your servant. There's a big difference because wealth and money are very corrupt master and a very good servant. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make the dunya serving you, but He will not make you worship the dunya, worship the wealth, a slave to the wealth. Because if you do, النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم said, تعس عبد الدرهم, تعس عبد الدينار, تعس وانتكس وإذا شيك فلانتقش. He prayed, the Prophet told, he's a loser, the one who's a slave to the gold and to the silver and to the trade and to the wealth. Number 5, one of the reward of doing good deeds, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect you in this dunya from the punishment in this dunya, from being destroyed. That's why Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, when he was asked, أَنَهْلَكُ وَفِينَا الصَّالِحُونَ قَالَ نَعَمْ إِذَا كَثُرَ الْخَبَثِ. Yes, if there is so many evil people. So that means if there is many good people, Allah will protect us. You want to protect our community. One of the things that terrify me sometimes, when I see the level of righteousness in my community going down. I look at the new generations of the Muslim community and I see their commitment to the ibadah, their commitment to the good deeds is going like this. They don't care for Sunnat al-Maghrib, they don't care for Sunnat al-Fajr, they don't care for the Siyam of the 3 days of the month, they never care for Siyam Monday or Thursday, they don't care for Sadaqah, extra donation, they don't care for the ibadat. No one make Qiyam al-Layl, no one knows how to read Quran, no one increase the relationship with the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All these good deeds is just going like this in the community, in the next generation. That means that our community is dangerous. What I fear the most is not the Islamophobe. What I fear the most is not the pressure from outside, as much as I fear that us from inside became so weak that easily can be crushed. Otherwise the pressure always will exist. But when we're strong, we can basically resist. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, إِن تَصْبِرُوا وَتَتَّقُوا لَا يَضُرُّكُمْ كَيْدُهُمْ شَيْئًا. If you have the sabr, and one of the meaning of the sabr on the good deeds, the sabr in committing yourself to be good, the sabr to commit yourself to abstain from the haram, and to have the taqwa of Allah, you cannot be harmed by their plots. One of the rewards of the good deeds is the protection in this dunya. كلما زادت الحسنات رفعت المهلكات. The more we increase the good deeds, the less chance Allah destroy us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala destroy. Wallahi, I read about some countries that today are suffering so much. And when I read about some of the things that it used to be done publicly, the amount of indecency, the amount of fawahish, the amount of wrong things that's done publicly, the amount of bid'ah and shirk, I understand that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hakim, adil. And the amount of return that we see, the people coming back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's really give me a great hope. For example, I'm not saying Syria or anything like that. I don't know much about Syria, how it used to be. But I'll give you an example of Syria, of a story that really until today shook my heart so hard. Of a brother, he was set in jail. They had a young man who was taken by the security service, the Syrian security service. They beated him so bad, so he would make sujood to Bashar al-Assad's picture. And he refused. He was beaten so bad. He doesn't look like a religious person at all. He was just picked from the street. One of these, want freedom and, generally speaking, he is not motivated by any religious background. But dhulm is dhulm, common sense. So he was beating so bad. So the guys in the cell was telling him, by the way, Islamically, you can do it if your heart is, you know that this is not right and haram, just to protect yourself. He said, I would never do it. They said, why? He said, because I never ever in my life prayed a single rak'ah in my life. And I don't want my first sujood in my life to be to other than Allah. I want my first sajda to be for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when I heard that, I said, Wallahi, the people of Syria have the best future. Because what's happening now is transferring a whole generation. That young man is the mu'adhin of the group in the in this cell. I heard the story quite a long time ago. I don't know what happened to him now. But when you hear things like this is when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you want to protect yourself, your family, your community, increase your good deeds. And the next, يقول عون بن عبد الله بن عتبة بن مسعود لولا من يذكر الله في غفلة من الناس لهلك الناس. It is because of those people who mention Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala while other people not really doing, Allah protecting us. Wallahi, our community, yes, you know what, sometimes we do all this planning and all this non-profit organization and all this media and PR and all this, that's 1%. But I always believe in my heart, the other 99% are those men and women who in the middle of the night, every night, they said, Ya Rab, protect us on our community. Those Khatib al-Jumu'ah who every Jumu'ah, they said, Ya Rab, protect us and protect our community. Those sisters who nobody knows who they are, what their name. But when they pray and they make their sujood, in a long sujood, words mixed with tears, Ya Rab, protect us and our community. It's because of this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives success. Because of this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives the barakah. Allah protect. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect all of us. One of the rewards of the good deeds is, believe it or not, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you in your children. Let's impact immediately your offsprings. يقول عمر بن عبد العزيز يقول ما من مؤمن يموت إلا يحفظه الله في عقبه وإني لأجزم بذلك. There is no true believer die unless Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect his offsprings after him or her. Shaykh Muhammad al-Sharif has a theory. Okay, I tested this theory and I found it almost correct. Okay, he told me once, he said, Waleed, I never saw a Hafidh al-Quran or a Hafidh al-Quran unless one of his parents, if not both, they usually makes Qiyam al-Layl. They usually make Qiyam al-Layl. So since he told me that, I start asking everyone who make Hafidh al-Quran. I asked them, do your parents make Qiyam al-Layl, one of them or both of them? And most of the cases, yes. وَكَانَ أَبُوهُمَا صَالِحًا. The story in Surah Al-Kahf. Their father was a righteous person. Umar ibn Abdul Aziz said that was not the immediate father. كان الجد السابع, the seventh grandfather. So the hifz, the barakah of the good deeds, it might even, maybe your own children will not, but it will come some way down on the road. Allah will give the barakah for it in one of your children. كان سعيد بن المسيب يا أحباب, سعيد بن المسيب رضي الله عنه ورحمه, one of the great تابعين, كان يزيد في صلاته ويقول والله لا أزيد في صلاتي إلا من أجلك يا بني حتى أحفظ فيك وفي ذريتك. He said, the only reason I increase my night prayer, Qiyam al-Layl, and I pray longer, only because I want Allah to reward me for that by protecting you and your children. By giving a blessings in you and your children. That's how Salaf rahimahumullah ta'ala understood that the reward of the good deeds will appear in their children and the children of their children. And Muhammad ibn al-Munkadir used to say, إن الله لا يحفظ الرجل الصالح بصلاحه يحفظ ولده وولد ولده ودويريته يعني جيرانه. Allah will, because of your righteousness, Allah protect your children, the children of your children, and even your neighbors will benefit from the righteousness of this person. One of the things that the blessings of good deeds, barakatul awqati wal a'mar, ya salam, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless your time, bless your age, bless your life. That blessing, it means a lot of goodness. Yani you will be able to do a lot of things in such a short period of time. You know, I travel a lot, alhamdulillah, especially lately. And I travel international places and, you know, in America as well. And I'll tell you, I went to places, sometimes I'm wondering if there is any who lives there. You know, and I found masjid, I found a Muslim community, and one thing always struck me. Like I was in Guam that year, Guam, in the middle of nowhere. One island, even there is no birds in Guam. There is not a single bird lives in Guam. It's an island. Okay? And I found a masjid and I found a copy from Riyadh al-Salihin. Then I travel in some mountains in the southern of Saudi Arabia. On the top of the mountain I see this old masjid and I found a copy from Riyadh al-Salihin. And I go in the Sa'id of Egypt and I found a copy from Riyadh al-Salihin. I go to Turkey, I found a copy from Riyadh al-Salihin. I go to China Sea in an island, Lang Lang, whatever it's called, okay, in the middle of nowhere, an island that does only have 24 homes in it. And I found a copy from Riyadh al-Salihin in a musalla there. I go to Malaysia, I found a copy. Philippines, I found a copy from Riyadh al-Salihin. I say to myself, what's this Imam have done that Allah put so much barakah in his work that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have made it spread all over the world? Riyadh al-Salihin is not like very sophisticated book or philosophical book. It's very simple, straightforward collection of hadith. Balash, there are 40 hadith in Nawawi. There is many 40 hadith. But Allah put barakah in his work. And by the way, An-Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala used to study every day 12 classes. He used to study and to read 12 classes every day with his teachers. He wrote so many books. They said, we estimated the amount of pages that he wrote in his lifetime, and divided by the days that he lived, we found out that he wrote every single day in his life 4 chapters. And now he died in the age of 45 years old. Ibn Taymiyyah died in 67 years old when he died, rahimahullah. Al-Dhahabi said, I counted how many books he wrote, and I found them, it's over 500 volumes. That's Al-Dhahabi rahimahullah ta'ala. Ibn Rajab, he said it is way more than that. He said he used to write in a day what people write in a week, rahimahullah. Ibn Abi Dunya wrote 1,000 books, rahimahullah. Ibn Asakir, one of his books, it's called Tarikh Ibn Asakir, 80 volumes. 80 مجلد. Even Ibn Asakir, there is a joke inside the student of knowledge. When someone wants to refer to something that no way to find out about it, they said, رواه Ibn Asakir. روح انت هتدور على Ibn Asakir. It's like an ocean. It's an inside joke. When someone wants to get you lost, he tell you, رواه Ibn Asakir. And you know why you can find it. Because it's such a huge book. Ibn Hazm wrote more than 400 volumes. Ibn Shaheen, 330 books, titles. Just to put things in perspective, 330, that's not too much. I just want to tell you, Tafsir Ibn Shaheen is 1,000 chapters. That's his Tafsir. And his Musnad, 1,500 chapters. What do we do? What's the blessings of our work today? You're so happy that you did your bachelor degree in 5 years, or Allah knows how many years, and in the end you have political science degree, Okay, you see what I'm talking about? This is a blessing in the time. Where does he get the time from? Al-Imam Ibn Qudamah used to pray every single day 300 rak'ahs. Where did he get the time to pray for 300 rak'ahs? The more righteous you are, the more Allah put barakah in your time. Shaykhna Shaykh Abdul Karim Al-Khdair, he said, when he narrated the story about how the Salaf used to read the whole Quran in one night, one of the students told him, "Yeah, Shaykh, I can't believe that. I'm Hafiz al-Quran, and I tried, it didn't work. You cannot read the whole Quran in one night." Then Shaykh Abdul Karim Al-Khdair, he told him, "Maybe you're Hafiz, but increase your ibadah and you will see." Shaykh Abdul Khadir, and I heard this from him. He said, 3 years later, the students came to me and he said, Ya Shaykh, when I said this, I never cared for Salat al-Duha, I never cared for the Sunnah. Yes, I was Hafiz. And my life changed after your advice. And wallahi, I did it several times that I made Khatm al-Quran in one night. And I found the barakah of the time connected to the righteousness of the deeds. Number 8, those who are doing good deeds, Allah always provide for them exits. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provide for them makhraj. وَمَن يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ يَجْعَل لَّهُ مَخْرَجًا وَيَرْزُقْهُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا يَحْتَسِبُ. Auf ibn Malik al-Ashja'i came to the Prophet ﷺ and he said, Ya Rasulullah, the kuffar have taken my son as a prisoner. Then the Nabi ﷺ told him, I ask you and your wife to say so as much as you can. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. He came back to his wife waiting what the Prophet will do. He told her about, he's now going to the Prophet to tell him about what happened to his son. So he said to her, all what the Prophet told me to say, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, so many times, me and you. Then the wife, she said, وَنِعْمَ مَا أَمَرَكَ بِهِ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ. The best advice, the best thing he told is to say that. In no time their son came back. They said to him, how did you manage to come? He said, they slept, the mushrikeen who kidnapped me, they slept and they forgot to tie my hand. And they fall asleep, drinking and they fall asleep. He said, so what I did, I woke up and I took the sword and tied to them and I took all the camels and the sheep and they brought it with me here back to Medina. In Dubai, in one of the streets of Dubai, a brother walking with his sister and his mother, and they saw this Russian lady crying in the street. They came to her, said, what's wrong with you? In that time, there's a lot of Russian ladies come to Dubai for prostitution. But she looks like very miskina, and he crying. He came to her and they talked to her, they took her home, and she told them she's not a prostitute. She was beaten up by the one who brought her to Dubai to do prostitution. She thought all what she does is to bring some goods back to to Russia, some electronics and stuff like that, free of taxes, but not for prostitution. Anyway, they gave her da'wah, she became Muslim, just to make the story short, because I have 2 more points to share with you. So she became Muslim, and he married her. After a year or so, she, mashallah, learned Arabic, she read Quran, she became a very righteous woman. Her passport expired. Now she goes to do a passport. They told her, no, you have to go to Russia. I forgot what was the reason. So he traveled with her to Russia. And she said, maybe it's a good time to go to my family village, tell them about me being Muslim. She said, I went with her, we went to her family. When they opened the door and they saw her with the hijab, they could not believe that this is their daughter. He said, Russian, they speaks like as if they are fighting. Wow, loud, So I don't know what they're doing, but I saw either they really miss each other or there is a problem. I don't know. So I was sitting outside. Her 2 brothers came out, and mashallah, they are like huge guys. He said, I stood up, want to shake his hand, he punched me in my face. They start beating me up. The only thing saved my life, the window. I jumped off the window, outside. Okay, I fall like it's the first floor, on the snow, and I run. I called the police, all of them know each other. Police didn't reply to me. Nobody want to speak to me English. I stayed 3-4 days. I cannot see my wife. I'm so terrified to go to the house. Police never respond to my request. He said, I watched them every day. They go to the work, and one day I got the carriage. I went and knocked the door. Her younger sister opened the door, and I saw my wife chained in a chain, her hands and her feet. She bleeding, beating up, bruises all over her face. She told me, just wait for me tomorrow, 1 a.m., get a taxi and wait for me at the motel. Where are you at? I said, okay. I got the taxi waiting. She came covered with a towel. We took the car, we left. He said, what happened? Anyway, to make the story short, her younger sister became Muslim. She like felt bad here, she's a teenager, she became Muslim, and she helped her to escape. Now the point is not here, the point is coming. They went to the city to make the passport. In the passport, they told her, you have to take off your hijab. She said, no, I'm Muslimah, I want my picture with the hijab. They said, no, get out of here. We went, and her husband told her, hey, it's okay, darura, you know, what if your parents came? What if they follow us to the city? You know, after all what you see. She said, wallahi, I will not take off my hijab. I said, whatever. We go there for 6 days straight, every day, or 5 days. Every day they kick us out. They said, no way. She said, one night she wake me up in the middle of the night and she say, Ya akhi taqillah, you want Allah to help you and every night you sleep? Stand up and make Qiyam al-Layl with me. I read a verse today and I know that tomorrow Allah will give us the relief. He said, what did you read? She said, look, and she opened Surah Al-Talaq, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَمَنْ يَتَّقِ اللَّهِ يَجْعَلْ لَهُ مَخْرَجًا. Those who have taqwa of Allah, Allah will give them an exit. And she said in the middle of the night, Ya Rabb, I only doing this because I fear you. He said, we went next day. He said, Wallahi, Ya Waleed, I walk into the police, the station or the passport office, and a big general, she said, I see you guys coming every day. What do you guys want? Then she told him. She said, oh, that's it? Come to my office. We sat. He called the officer, the lieutenant, who every day kick us out. And he said, no. He called him. He said, process this passport right now and bring it to me. Right now. He said, in 1 hour, we have the passport and we left. Good deeds and righteous deeds protect the believer. Give you exit from the trouble that you go through. Good deeds bring the blessings of the heavens and the earth. وَلَوْ أَنَّ أَهْلَ الْقُرَىٰ آمَنُوا وَاتَّقَوْا لَفَتَحْنَا عَلَيْهِمْ بَرَكَاتٍ مِّنَ السَّمَاءِ وَالْأَرْضِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling us of the people of the village, or the people who have taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Faith and taqwa. Allah will open the floodgates of blessings to come to them from the heavens and the earth. That's why Imam Ahmad rahimahullah mentioned in his Musnad that they found when the Bani al-Abbas, when the Abbasi dynasty take over the Umayyad dynasty, they found in the Muslims' treasure, they found a date pit, the seed of the date. Sorry, they found a grain of wheat in the size of the date seed. A grain of wheat in the size of the date pit or the date seed. That's big. And it's written in it, documented. It's in كَانَ هَذَا يَنْبُتُ فِي زَمَانِ الْعَدْلِ. That's how the grain used to look like in the time of justice, the time of Umar ibn Aziz. The barakah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes to the earth when there is righteous. That's why in the end of the days, when there is no kufr, no shirk, and people are righteous in the time of the return of Jesus, Allah give barakat to this earth. Also, one of the blessings, nur fil wajh wa baha. Have you ever had a friend, and all of a sudden, this friend, one of these guys who are like nobody. Okay, and all of a sudden he hooked up with maybe a businessman or had a government position, and went to the Manhattan and all this uptown and these fancy places and invited. What happened? You always see him, mashallah, you change. He look well dressed, clean, shining. That's right. Whoever in the company of muluk dunya, you hang out with the king, you hang out with the Congress, senators, high official, very rich people. What happened? You see the athar, the impact of this companionship and the way you look. فما بالك بمن كان في صحبة ملك الملوك. What you think of the one who is in the company of the King of the Kings. That's why خلوا به فأعطاهم من بهائه. The righteous people who make the Qiyam al-Layl, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give them from His beauty, give Him from His light, give Him from His nur, make them shining, make them look good. That's why the sin take away that look, the shining of the iman in the face, while the ta'ah give you the opposite. Number 10, maybe I will end with that. Oh. وتر, okay. هل جزاء الإحسان إلا الإحسان. You do good, you get rewarded by good. You do good deeds to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah give you back immediately. And Allah give you back in many different forms. And one of the best thing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you back, the best given back to you, it's what? We talk about Muslim giving back, that Allah giving back. One of the best thing that Allah give you back, He give you back the ability to do another good deed. Every time you do something good, Allah give you the ability to do another thing. That's why some of the Salaf rahimahumullah used to say, if you're looking forward for certain good deeds to have them, offered good deeds and Allah give it to you. For example, you want to enjoy Qiyam al-Layl, make a lot of dhikr during the day. You want to enjoy khushu' fi salah, perfect your wudu'. You want to enjoy Salat al-Dhuhr, pray Sunnat al-Dhuhr. You want to enjoy a dua in Taraweeh, perfect your siyam, your fasting. You want to get, you know what, Hifdh al-Quran, adim dhikr Allah, make a lot of dhikr. And Allah in return, He give you the reward of that hasana. And that's a beautiful concept. غض بصرك يعطيك الله من التأمل والتدبر في القرآن. Lower your gaze and see how Allah will open your heart to contemplate in the Quran and to understand it. So one of the things that Allah give back, He give you back another ability or open another door for you of good deeds. And that's one of the best things that you can be giving back in the dunya. Another giving back that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He give you back that your memory, your legacy will be remembered, will be known, like what I just told you about in Nawawi rahimahullah and so many other scholars. What do you think have made Al-Shafi'i, Ahmad, Al-Bukhari, Abu Hanifa, Malik, Muslim, all these scholars, their legacy alive? What do you think made Abu Bakr and Umar and Uthman? There is 500,000 companions, nus million, 500,000 companions. What made some of them stands out this way? What made out of millions of successors and follow-up successors, few hundreds and few thousands, that their legacy is preserved and known and carried generation after generations? There is hundreds of fuqaha, hundreds of muhaddithin. It's their commitment, their righteousness, their sincerity, their good deeds what have made them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward them بالذكر الجميل and yuhfad. That Allah make them alive, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make their legacy alive as if they're still alive. One of the things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect you, and also protect your work, protect your body, protect your legacy, protect what you lived for. Wallahi, this is something sometimes make me think a lot. But after my die, the thing that I struggle for and I work so hard for will be protected after my death, will be kept. Because in the history, some didn't make it. They die and their legacy die with them. Their work die with them. But do you think the work, the thing that you work for will remain after you? See those righteous people, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect them, even them after their death. يقول ابن الجوزي رحمه الله لما حصل الغرق في بغداد, when a big huge flood happened, and that was in the 6th century, 545 Hijri. He said, all my library was flooded. All my book, I lost all my book except one book. Was written by the handwriting of Imam Ahmad rahimahullah. Allah protected Imam Ahmad's book. I didn't touch. And by the way, this is not one single incident. Al-Dhahabi rahimahullah said in 720, a huge flood happened in Baghdad. All the neighborhood where there's a cemetery, all the grave were basically uncovered except the grave of Imam Ahmad was dry as if it's never touched by the water. And in Dhahabi rahimahullah, we have testimonial of hundreds of people witness that the water come from everywhere, didn't touch Qabr Imam Ahmad rahimahullah. Ali ibn al-Husayn al-Zubaydi, the one who have al-Mukhtasar al-Bukhari, he said, my library burned. All my books were burned except one book, which is Musnad al-Imam Ahmad. I can go on and many examples, just an example of how Allah protect even the work and the legacy of some people after their death. My brothers and sisters, now I have to choose the last one. I have two actually points left. Should I say both? Or one? Both? Huwa Amirul Waqt. Did we pass our time? Okay, so quickly. One of them is Husn al-Khatimah, which is very important. That good deeds lead to good ending. As simple as that. You consistent in your good deeds, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala end your life with good deeds. And I'm sure you all heard of many stories like that. Of people who live upon something, he dies upon it. And that's one of the best things that you can get out of the good deeds. Is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guarantee for you a good ending. And I want to tell you what Ibn Kathir rahimahullah said. Ibn Kathir rahimahullah said, وَلَمْ يُعْلَمْ مِنْ عَادَةِ اللَّهِ الْكَرِيمَةِ. It never known that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ever have someone done good to him all his life or all her life, then they end up their life with bad deeds. That's not known in the history. You might say, what about the hadith? The Prophet ﷺ said, someone will do the good deeds until he or she so close to Jannah and he will change. No, the hadith said, he do good deeds فِيمَا يَبْدُو لِلنَّاسِ. He do good deeds as if it appeared to people. But in his heart, he never was really a believer. In his heart, his heart full of doubts, full of shubuhat. When they are alone, they're not as good as they are in public. In public, they are a shaitan worst enemy. But in secret, they are his best friends. That's what it is. As for the last one, good deeds, when you do good deeds and you leave something for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah give you something better. So if the good deeds prevent you from maybe a loss or enjoyment or a chance to do something, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will immediately give you something in return better than what you left for His sake. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم ما نقص مال من صدقة. You give sadaqah, you give charity, Allah give you in return something better. Reward you better in the dunya and in the akhirah. وَمَا زَادَ اللَّهُ عَبْدًا عَفْوًا إِلَّا عِزًّا. And every time you give up your ego, you don't seek revenge for yourself, you forgive, Allah elevate you, put you in higher rank. وَمَنْ جَعَلَ الْآخِرَةَ هَمَّهُ أَتَتْهُ الدُّنْيَا وَهِيَ رَاغِمَةٌ. And if the akhirah is your main concern and you leave the dunya for that, Allah give you the dunya underneath your feet. He bring it to you. وَمَنْ كَظَمَ غَيْظًا وَهُوَ قَادِرٌ عَلَى إِمْضَائِهِ. Somebody have wronged me. Muhammad al-Kilani was telling me a story. I was really thank you, Muhammad, for telling me the story, because I learned from him something. How he controlled his anger. If it's me, I don't know, even I would be able to do that. to keep my cool that way. Whenever you control your anger, and you know that you can release your anger, you can punish the person, but you control it for the sake of Allah. ناداه الله على رؤوس الخلائق يوم القيامة. Allah called that person in front of everybody in the day of judgment. And خيره من الحور العين ما يشاء. Allah give him a reward of الحور العين to choose from over what he wants. ومن تواضع لله رفعه. And if you be down to earth, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala elevate you. If you notice every one of the hadith, it's the opposite. Allah give you the opposite. And the higher you leave something, why people will be down to earth, will be humble? Because they don't want to show, like, elevate themselves. But Allah, because you give up this, Allah elevate you. What you give up for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah give it back to you and better. There is one of the Syrian scholars, or he's more of a wa'id. His name is Shaykh Waleed Basyouni. Was something I used to enjoy listening to him in Saudi Arabia and TV. That's the only TV I used to watch. He used to come before Maghrib. Very nice man, old man. He said once something very interesting. He said, in Syria, in Sham, in Damascus, there is a masjid. It's called Masjid al-Tawbah. Anybody from Damascus here? Maybe he knows where that masjid is. Masjid al-Tawbah used to be in the 7th century a bar. And that bar, a king bought it and transferred it to masjid, became known Masjid al-Tawbah. He said the imam of this masjid, this is Shaykh Tantawi, he died about 20 years ago. He said that he knows the people who witnessed this incident. He heard this story from them directly. There was an imam, his name Salim al-Suyuti, used to be the imam of this masjid. One of his students, the muaddin, was very poor and very righteous man. One day, just to make the story short, the student was so hungry, but he has dignity. He's not going to ask people. So he was so hungry to the extent that the student told himself, you know what, I reached to a level that doing haram for eating will be halal. Yani eating dead animals or stealing food will be halal for me because I'm going to die. He said when he was in the top of the masjid, he decided to go look for, and in the old days, houses are next to each other, like in the village. So he started jumping from one house to another, looking for somebody have food and the left food outside just to eat it. He said, I saw a woman usually women sit on the roof to cool. He felt shy, he went to the other side, he saw this empty house. He jumped inside the house and he saw this nice smell coming. He opened the pot and they were cooking food and cooking badinjan. Eggplant. I don't know how anybody eat eggplant, but a lot of people eat it.
Both hands. Yeah.
Both hands? Big man. Okay, so he get the eggplant and about to eat it, and he said, a student of knowledge, and go to hellfire over a badinjan, over eggplant, well, not worth it. Ya Rab, you know that how much hungry I am. But wallahi, I will leave it for your sake. And he said, I came back to the masjid, my head down, and I told my sheikh, my sheikh saw me so sad, and he said, I have a good news for you. He said, what? He said, I have this woman who came. She said, my nephew, her father died, and he left her alone in this city with a lot of money, and I'm worried about her. And I went to your sheikh to marry her to someone who can protect her and protect her wealth. Somebody who fears Allah. And he said, I recommended you for the job. He said, Sheikh, I can't have anything to eat. He said, don't worry, she will feed you. She's hard. He said, okay, let's go see her. I want to see her. So they took him to the same house that he was about to steal from the eggplant. He ate that eggplant that night, and he ate the one who made the eggplant. I mean, he married them. Okay. He married the one who made the eggplant. Okay. طيب. أخطأ من شدة الفرح. Anyway, my point is, You know, guys, I just want to end up with a serious point. Every time you do a good deed, Allah multiplied to you starting from 10. Every time you do one bad deed, it will be considered one sin. من جاء بالحسنة فله عشر أمثالها ومن جاء بالسيئة فلا يجزى إلا مثلها. You come with the good deeds, Allah multiplied to 10 and maybe more. Okay? كما قال ابن عمر كل حسنة بعشر أمثالها إلا الصدقة تبدأ من 700 ضعف. Every good deed start from 10 except sadaqah start from 700. Okay? And one sin is considered what? One. This simple math known very well to the shaitan. The shaitan works in you, works in you, works in you to make one sin. Then you do one good deed, 9 to 1. You know, you have 10 and he got you 1. But you do one good deed, he get 10. So shaitan knows this very well. So the shaitan not only try to make you do sins, he's also one of his ultimate goal to make sure that you don't do good deeds. So you don't win in the end. One of his ultimate goal not only to make you make a sin, because he knows if you make one, it will be 1. But you make good deed, it's 10. He knows he's losing in the end of the day. That's why shaitan cares so much to block you and take you away from doing good deeds. So I hope today that all these 12 points I mentioned today is all leading to one simple conclusion. That if you find an opportunity to do a good deeds, don't ever hesitate to do. استجيبوا لله وللرسول إذا دعاكم. الاستجابة, it means you respond quickly with sincerity. واعلموا أن الله يحول بين المرء وقلبه. Know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can turn your heart away from doing this good deed. اللهم اجعل أعمارنا مملوءة بطاعتك وأحسن ختامنا يا حي قيوم. What a wonderful audience you guys are. Don't want me to, I can't even explain how happy I am to be with you tonight. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make what we say يعني حجة لنا لا علينا, something for us, not against us, and to increase our iman and to forgive our sin. And I would like to thank the Masjid Baytul Maqdis and Muslim Giving Back. And I hope they organized this event. So I hope we give them back tonight as much as we can to support their work. Even though they never ask me for anything, I don't even know if they want that or not. But sure, they always appreciate our support as a community. And also I would like to, this is the end of my tour this week, and I would like to thank all the brothers and sisters who helped to organize my event over the last 3 days. It was a great opportunity to be here with you guys in New York. And looking forward to see you guys in February. Inshallah, I'm coming back to teach a course. So I hope to see you all. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.